Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Jabroni Drive. My name is Tom Lavelle, and as always, I'm accompanied by Mr. Timothy Schmidt. On today's episode, we cover everything from Money in the Bank, Judgement Day, Seth Rollins, a Raw recap, 5-star matches, and the trial of Roman Reigns. Will this be the greatest episode in Jabroni Drive history? I think so. Tim, you got anything to say to all the Schmidt-Lavellites out there?
My name is Timothy Schmidt, and I'm awesome.
Wow. Incredible. Welcome to another episode of Jabroni Drive. As I said in the intro, my name is Tom Lavelle. As always, I'm accompanied by Mr. Timothy Schmidt. And yes, in fact,
happy 4th of July.
He is awesome. Can I get should we do a 4th of July? Ho! Little hacksaw.
Did you have
my hacksaw Jim Duggan socks?
You had the socks?
Had the socks on. Tim, a lot to cover this week. A big weekend for the WWE. And let's get it started right now with Money in the Bank. Tim, what a pay-per-view. What a premium live event. Whew, caught myself there. What a premium live event it was. And all of it, I would say, some great stuff in the ring, some nice surprises. The crowd was incredible. It seems like with every premium live event, the crowd seems to step up their game because they see the crowd before. You know, it starts back in Montreal when you had the Elimination Chamber. Then obviously you have WrestleMania where everyone's super hot in Hollywood. And then you got Backlash in Puerto Rico, right? And then you got now Money in the Bank in London. It's just been one thing after another, and these crowds have been super hot. It makes the matches and the premium live events so much fun to watch. What did you think of the show and I guess in particular the crowd?
Well, three of the last 4 shows that you just mentioned all happened outside of the United States, with the exception of obviously the WrestleMania, which happened in Los Angeles. You talked about London, you talked about Puerto Rico, and you talked about Montreal. Like, these crowds have not seen WWE action in quite some time, and they're starved for it. They're thirsting for it, and I mean, they're delivering every time that these events show up in their backyard, and it's great to see. It's hard to argue how much a show is really elevated when the crowd is involved, as it was again at Money in the Bank. It just takes the show to a whole different level. And the crowd was up from start to finish, for every match almost. And you know, like every single match, in my opinion, when that does happen, it seems like it matters a little bit more. So I mean, do you want to go through the entire pay-per-view? Why don't we start out with the first?
Absolutely. Let's go through the entire pay-per-view. And as you're saying, with the fans, us being, old school ECW fans, and we've seen how crowds can take over shows and basically make the show, and that's something that happened again this weekend in London. First match I want to talk about is the men's Money in the Bank match. They started the show with this, started hot, incredible match. So much talent in that ring. I know you were super excited to see Butch out there. He delivered. What a pop he got from the crowd. But the big stories from this match, Tim, how hot was the crowd for LA Knight? LA Knight is super over. We text about wrestling on a regular basis as it plays every night, and we've talked about something, a slow build for LA Knight. Have you noticed now LA Knight's becoming more mainstream. You see him now in a lot more interviews on social media. And just an interview I just saw just popped up with what is it, Ariel Helwani or Israel Helwani? You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, yep. I saw that one.
That one just popped up. He's getting interviews over and over now. It seems like what you described in a text. You said a slow build. Where do you think this slow build is going for him?
Well, all right. So like we talked about our predictions on the last show. We talked about like you thought. I think you thought predicted correctly. I think you thought that Damian Priest would win, and he did.
Yes.
I predicted that LA Knight would win if they were doing things right, and he lost. And now that I look at it and I see how they go with it, it makes sense because it doesn't do anyone anything to just give the keys to the kingdom to LA Knight right out the gate, right? This guy has been mucking and grinding for 20 years, just to coin a term from the Flyers. He's essentially, he's just like a mucker and grinder, right? Like this dude has been really fighting through the ranks throughout his entire career. He's got on this meteoric rise, and the wrong thing to do would be to just say, hey, you know what? Here's the Money in the Bank match. You win it, go cash it in, right? They need to capitalize on what he's got going for him right now. And there's a lot of haters out there, right? Like I've seen some commentary from some other people in the industry. Like I saw Kevin Nash. He's like, this guy's nothing more than a rock, copycat. Like that's like, and maybe, hey, maybe that's a hater in him. Maybe he's right. I don't know. But look, everyone takes a little bit of everything from every wrestler that's been doing it in the past. So you got to take something that works and add it to your persona and build on it. And he's done a great job. And now that he's super over, people are like pissed off about it. The crowd only responds to people that they like, right? And for what type of reaction that LA Knight is getting, I mean, it just seems like that he's doing something right.
Absolutely. And you know what? He was in the interview we were referencing earlier. He was asked about that comparison with, The Rock and Stone Cold, and he said, "Look, I watched those guys growing up. I watched every single show I was following. I had all the VHSs. Anything that was Stone Cold, that was The Rock, I had it." And he says, "Now, when I do my thing, you know, maybe subconsciously there's something in there because when I was growing up, that's who I idolize. And I maybe have taken some bits and pieces subconsciously. I certainly wouldn't do it on purpose or anything like that. But when I go out there, I'm me. And maybe that being a part of my childhood and growing up in my fandom is become part of me." It basically said it like that. And hey, guess what? He wants to emulate and be like the greatest of all time. Two of the greatest to do it all time. It's not like he's saying if you smell what LA Knight's cooking. You know what I mean? It's not
Right.
like he's saying, and that's the bottom line because LA Knight said so. This guy he's he's got that attitude kind of twist to him, but in a unique way. Not really fair, I don't think, to just to put him down for that. I want to see a little bit more in ring stuff from him. I haven't
Well,
seen a ton of his TNA stuff, but I want to see that he can really go in the ring.
so that's the other thing. And look, we're kind of staying on LA Knight a little bit here, but I said the same thing in the text is like, look, now that he lost, I can see why they're doing this is because like, look, he doesn't have enough under his belt. Like the guy doesn't have great wins yet. Like he needs to build his resume a little bit. And that's why I said like we need to slow build this guy. Like if I'm in creative, I'm like, all right, let's now start putting him in the matches with like, hey, top tier guys. Like let's see him in the ring with like, I mean, Seth Rollins is obviously a champion right now, but like let's get him in the ring with other guys like Shinsuke. Maybe like even like if the Edge comes back and starts wrestling, maybe have him
Ooh,
face the
Edge.
Edge, right? Like a
Yeah.
couple other guys. Like let's get
AJ
some credit.
Styles,
Yeah, let's
Bobby
get some credit.
Lashley,
Let's get some credibility to this dude instead of him beating up fucking what's his name? Uh
Logan Paul,
who's
or
no
Ricochet,
uh
or
no
Butch.
who's the guy no who's the guy that we who we sent down? The Wolf.
Baron Corbin, the Lone
Yeah,
Wolf.
like
Yeah,
let's not get W's against Baron Corbin. Let's build him up a little bit. Let's get him some W's, see how it works out, and go from there. So,
yeah.
but he lost, and that's fine. I love Damian Priest winning this match, as you predicted. It was a dude. I mean, some of the spots in the match, the Ricochet off the rope. I think he did like a flip in the air and did a
Oh
almost like
yeah,
a
the flip and a half into the frog splash on the ladder. Is
the
that what you're
frog
talking about?
splash on the ladder was ridiculous. Um,
The flip through the ladder into the onto the side was incredible. And then obviously when him and Logan Paul were on top of the ladder and went into the ropes, and what looked to be something that was almost a major catastrophe, they ended up getting it done, pulling off the flip and going through those tables, which was an incredible moment. And we got to point out Logan Paul, for just being in this business for a little bit over a year, maybe a year and a half now. This dude's incredible. And every time he's in the ring, he does something that I'm like, man, that was pretty freaking sweet. You know, he does the frog splash on the side on the Damian Priest. That ladder doesn't bust. That looked rough. That looked like it was tough.
yep.
He's doing stuff off the top rope, and then obviously the flips through the table. You know, Logan Paul's the real deal, man. And he sells a fight too.
And the cool thing to come from that is he's now involved in a storyline, and maybe it's only like a 6 week thing, but now we what has come of that match is that him and Ricochet are now involved in this little turmoil from that whole match, right? The fallout from that match.
Right.
And Ricochet calls him out on Monday Night Raw. We'll get into that later. And it seems like now Logan Paul's he's tied into WWE for at least for the next 6 weeks, because that's when SummerSlam hits. And you know, maybe we'll see a match from Logan Paul on Raw, and not just on like Smack on a pay-per-view or a PPPLE level.
Yeah.
We'll see. But that was cool.
What did you think of
Um,
the backstage stuff between him and Ricochet after the Money in the Bank match? The video of that where
yeah,
they're
no, I
going out.
thought it was good. No, I thought it was really good. I thought it was sold pretty well.
I loved that. And I thought they were laying it in with each other. I think it sold the rivalry really taking off. And then like you mentioned, the challenge by Ricochet on Raw. I thought that was really well done. And I'll tell you what, if they're fighting at SummerSlam, that's a match I'm circling. I think that's going to be highly entertaining.
Yeah, it's got they have history too, which is great. Um, but like the one thing I want to point out, was as much as I love that match, the limit or the Money in the Bank match, the men's Money in the Bank match, you could tell, and I sent the text to you that like it looked like Logan missed his spot, like because Ricochet is fantastic on the ropes, right? Like he is incredible. We've seen him do this before, where that ladder. We've seen this before, where that ladder falls down, he hits the ropes with his feet, and then he does some sort of crazy like flip off the ropes, right?
Yeah.
And in that spot, if you go back and you watch that spot, they both hit the same time, and Logan Paul misses the ropes with his feet. And I'm not like blaming Logan Paul. It's a tough thing to pull off, dude.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a hard thing to pull off. But I really wanted to see exactly what that result would have been. Like if they both hit that exactly how it was supposed to, whatever that spot would have been,
Yeah.
it would have been probably better than what we saw. And it looked rough, but it would have been incredible. And hopefully we see that in SummerSlam when they get together.
Yeah. And I would have loved to see, yeah, if that in fact wasn't what they were, it certainly didn't look like that's what they were trying to do. Um, Now I will say this, that I have been, obviously I'm trying to become more and more a student of the professional wrestling world and the business, and I've been following a lot of things for years. And recently I've been listening to different stuff, and Mick Foley was talking about certain things, and he hates the word botch. Oh, they botched that, or they messed up that, and this and that. And he's a firm believer that in a fight, especially like say you're watching a UFC fight or whatever, a real fight, that it's not pretty. And I know this is WWE and it's choreographed and stuff like that, but he thinks that adding a little bit more of that not pretty kind of move to a match kind of makes it and gives it more of that realism that we talk about all the time. So when you're fighting and you're going through the ropes or a suplex or whatever, to have it not be perfect, he said Terry Funk would plan these moves to where he would do something and it looked like it went wrong, and people are then like, whoa, that went wrong, like, and now they're even more invested. Are they okay, or is that supposed to? So I think that element kind of being added into, I like seeing those kinds of mistakes as long as no one's getting hurt, if that makes sense. And I wonder if there's a thought in wrestlers' heads today to do like a Terry Funk where, hey, let's do this, and oh, I slip, you know what I mean? But people might think it's a botch, but then I'm falling down and I can play that my shoulder got messed up on that. You know what I'm saying, Tim?
Yeah, no, I
Does
get
that
it.
make
I just
sense?
don't.
I don't
It's
think it was
hard to
that
plan a.
moment, but I'm just
It's just
saying,
hard to
like,
plan. In my opinion, it's hard to plan a botch, right? Like most Mick Foley stuff was pretty hardcore, right? Like unscripted, like, and he's probably the best that's ever done it. And it's easy for him to say, like, hey, yeah, it'd be great just to see like someone, get their head split open by tax or you know what I mean? Like the dude's an a legend for a reason. But not everyone has what Mick Foley has. You know what I mean? Like
right.
it's hard to sell that type of stuff. Especially in today's WWE where everything's so clean and so like, hey, like we can't use chairs and we can't do this and we can't do that. Like it's like I get what he's trying to say, but I just don't agree with like how that could go over.
Well,
And
he was famous for a spot where he would go over the ropes and his head would get stuck in between the ropes. They would twist up and he'd be holding on. You know what I mean? And so it looks like, oh my God, this is an emergency, is a planned thing. And and not that it has to happen all the time, but next thing you know, you're having a match and someone slips or gets caught up, and it's like, whoa, like I would say that's something that as if I'm trying to take my wrestling to the next level, I wanna work on. And what are we getting into
so
here? I
not to
don't
be
wanna.
not well, not to be a dick. So like what would give me an example of like what that would be in today's WWE?
All
Tell
right,
me like
so
what
yeah, so there's a lot of high flying that's going on, right? And so, like for example, when they went off the thing and they're getting now you're stuck in the ropes, you know what I mean? Or you're doing a suplex. Say Brock Lesnar's doing a suplex to somebody, and they know it's coming a certain way. Okay, we're gonna do it this way to where it looks like you land poorly on your shoulder or something like that, and then you can use that as, oh my God, Cody Rhodes has a broken arm. You know what I mean? But it's just it's something that, like, I feel like Jeff Hardy did it a little while ago where he went up to jump on the top ropes. He comes down and he lands and he like grabs his leg, like, oh man, it's shot. My knee's shot, and like it buckles, you like practicing like something to make it look like a knee buckle or like
well
a.
so Seth Rollins does a lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And so but like I would say that even more he could take it a little bit further. You know what I mean? Where it's like you pay attention. When they went off that ladder and they hit the ropes and they're stuck in the ropes now, and then like that wasn't supposed to happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
It
Yeah.
kind of gives
No,
you
yeah.
that like, whoa, this is real now. You know, that wasn't supposed to happen. I don't know, just something like when you're trying to throw different angles into the story of a match. I'm curious how much wrestlers think about that aspect of it. Like, hey, why don't we throw a curveball at them this one and say like, man, let me get stuck in this situation, like, and people are like, what just happened there? You know what I mean? So whatever. I just went off on a tangent that took us way too far. So Tim, overall, great match. Some great spots from that. LA Knight going up to get the ladder. A great camera work to get the Money in the Bank, and then Damian Priest's hand comes out of nowhere and stops him, and everyone thought he was going to win it. Damian Priest ends up winning the match. Now, when we talked about this last week and Damian Priest winning the Money in the Bank, we thought, wow, this is going to be cool because it's going to set up for so many storylines. A big part of that is that eventually they have to put some gold on the Judgment Day. I mean, this has been going on for over a year. Dom Dom joined at Clash of the Castle last year, which is almost a year now, and none of the guys have gotten any gold. You know what I mean? The only thing they've won is this Money in the Bank contract that just came in. Where is the Judgment Day going? Is this all just a big waste of time? And are they going to just have it explode now? Like, I think you have a great opportunity to have Finn win the belts and Damian have the Money in the Bank contract, and it's like you get weekly, like, whoa, is he going to turn on him? Is he going to turn? And then when he finally does, you get that big payoff.
So we've been treated to the Judgment Day for over a year and a half now, and you know my feelings on, and if anyone's been watching our podcast knows my feelings on the Judgment Day. I think it's one of the worst factions I've ever seen. I mean, their music's cool and like their whole like wardrobe and everything like that. The look is cool, but they just don't do anything. Like all they do is lose. It's like the
Yeah.
worst faction of all time. I mean, dude, I mean, Dom loses on the regular. And I think that's his role. Like he's just like an idiot that loses and like whatever. He's trying to build himself up. And uh like Damian Priest, I mean, he lost to Bad Bunny at a pay-per-view, and then like he's starting to get himself built back up. But like Finn Balor hasn't won a match, like a legitimate match in quite some time. So like this faction that's supposed to be some sort of like, you know, I like some
Badass.
sort
They
of,
claim to run Monday Night Raw. It's like you're not running anything. You lose all the
yeah.
time. What are you running?
So yeah, we're trying to figure out like what exactly they are, and like you know, we saw it. Yeah, as you said, hey, listen, like if Damian Priest wins, it's going to create all these storylines, and it has a little bit, right? So we're starting to now get storylines, but they're inner turmoil, like storylines. Like all of a sudden now the Judgment Day is imploding after they finally have like this little credibility. Oh my God, they wanted the Money in the Bank, and now all of a sudden they're fighting inwards instead of outwards. It's just like weird. So like to your point, where are we going with this? Like, and then you hear this, and it could have been a botch or it could have not have been a botch, but Bailey gets announced the other day,
Oh
like on the
yeah.
pay-per-view, as a member of the Judgment Day, which is weird. I don't know if that was just a mistake, but it happened. The next person that came out was Io Sky, and they happened to get that right with damage control.
Yeah. They
So
said Bailey representing the Judgment Day. And was that a tell or was that a mistake? You know,
yeah,
is that planting a seed or is that just something like, oh, I read the wrong thing? But there was nobody else from the Judgment Day in that match. So why would they
yeah.
even have Judgment
Um,
Day there?
who knows? So it's interesting the way it's going to play out. Obviously there's a riff here between Finn and Priest. I mean, do we care about it that much
I
though?
don't. And I don't want Damian Priest to hold a title right now. I mean, I don't want Damian Priest to take a title, a major title, away from Seth or Roman, or Gunther, like where, and you have the Money in the Bank contract. So, of course, in your head, especially if you're a part of a faction, you're going to be taking the top prize. I have the Money in the Bank contract. I'm going after the top prize. That's what I want. It makes sense. Got to make it make sense. Now, this new heavyweight championship is a top prize. I think you had to have Finn win. Now, is Finn going to get another shot at SummerSlam? At some point, if the Judgment Day is legit, they have to win some sort of a title. Tag. Put them in the tag title. Give them one of them, something. Finn Balor can hold the heavyweight championship, and I'm not too upset about that. You know what I mean? If they come out and they jump Seth and Finn wins the championship, so be it. That's fine. And then you can have several months of when is Damian Priest going to cash in on Finn, and it kind of, you can build that falling apart of the Judgment Day. When's it going to happen? I don't know, because it all just seems like a big waste of time. And another thing I mentioned to you off the air, Tim, was there's no way Finn Balor should have lost that match to Edge at WrestleMania. It's silly. He didn't need to lose that. Edge didn't need that win. Edge wins, doesn't win. Nobody cares. It doesn't affect the history of Edge at all. Finn Balor wins that match. It gives him a little bit of, validity, and that, like, look at this. I took down the Hall of Famer at WrestleMania with 15 staples in my head. You can brag about it. You can talk about it as if, like, what are they doing with Judgment Day? Enough.
Plus, dude, Judgment Day has not moved anything.
Right.
It's like the least impactful, like stable since like probably like DOA.
The Disciples of Apocalypse.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's so bad. Like I don't get it. Like they're not
E-
doing anything.
Even Gideon held a title in the DOA.
I don't even know who that is. That's like how bad it is. I knew of DOA. I just threw it out there because I knew they just didn't have that much of an impact.
Yeah.
It's just it's not good, dude. And it's better off that they just dismember it and just move on from it. Unless they're going to add more members to it, they should have they should have like 8 members if they're going to have like an impact. Like turn it into like it. Not I'm not saying turn it into MWO, right? Like, but like just have more of a presence. Like they feud with the same people over and over again.
Yeah.
If they're going to say they run Monday night, why don't you have more members and attack more people?
You know what I'm starting to think, Tim, and this is just something that just hit me as we're talking about it. Any chance that Damian Priest cashes in for the NXT title?
What?
Is there any chance that he cashes in on the NXT champion?
No. Why would he do that?
Well, because then you're not taking it from Seth. You're not taking it from Roman, and you're bringing those views to NXT where there's been a lot of guys that have been going to Mustafa Ali. You got your boy the Lone Wolf, Mr. Baron Corbin, that's been down there. Seth just had a match against Braun Breaker. Any chance that he goes down and cashes in? Do you want to see Damian Priest holding the or the WWE Heavyweight Championship or the Undisputed Championship? You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
think I think he well, here's the thing. It doesn't automatically mean that you're gonna hold the chip
Right.
if you cash in. Like he could still lose,
Yeah,
right?
it's true. Yeah. You know what? We've given Judgment Day a lot of time. Where are they going? I guess answers will come out. It's just, to me, this has been a miss, and I don't know when they're going to be putting a title on Judgment Day, and if not, then what? I mean, the whole year has been a waste of time to me.
They need look. Here's the thing. All right, this is what I'm going to say about Judgment Day, and it's the last thing I'll say. They need one. They need one reputable dude to join. Like, I just don't. In my opinion, the way it's going to work is that Priest is probably going to leave, right? And that sucks. But they need somebody. If he leaves or if he doesn't leave, they still need somebody reputable that is going to like make a difference in that fashion, because there's not one guy that's like legitimate. Like Seth Rollins joining the Judgment Day would be a major move, right? Like that would be a huge thing. That'd be like an earth shaker, right? Like you need an earth shattering move. Like what about Braun Breaker coming up and joining the Judgment Day?
No, I got it
Like
right
that would
now.
be
You ready? Judgment Day, Dolph Ziggler.
you're a prick.
Would you like that? Dolph Ziggler joining the Judgment Day?
I'm trying to be serious, and you're fucking around now. You're an asshole.
Well, Braun Breaker joining the Judgment Day. I mean, I'm excited for whatever they decide to do with Braun Breaker, but it seems like he's just staying in NXT right now. But, JD McDonough is one that they've talked to. Finn has been talking to him in the back, as shows have been going on. Like, what
But
the
he's
fuck?
not a he doesn't move the needle,
He
dude.
doesn't move the needle at all. Right. But I'm saying, like, where's he now? Like he's nowhere to be
You
found
just
with.
need you know what you need? You need the Undertaker to come back and join the Judgment Day.
Who could join I mean, what about like a Randy Orton if he came back, somebody like that? He's too much of a
No, it
loner.
doesn't work.
What about Braun Strowman?
That's not bad. I mean, we're speculating, so let's
Yeah,
move on to
this
the
is
next one.
silly. All right, so Tim, there was the big match between Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. Damian Priest comes out. He has a Money in the Bank contract. There's some talk between him and Seth on the outside of the ring. Gets the double kick from the drop kick from Finn Balor into the side. He throws him in there. Finn Balor's going for the coup de grace. Damian Priest stands up. Finn looks at him for a couple seconds. Goes for the coup de grace, misses. Curb stomp. Seth wins. Finn Balor's now blaming Damian Priest. Yada yada yada. Seth Rollins, majorly over, and I've been texting you and Rob Dis, who's getting another shout out on the show of a honorary Jabroni. Seth Rollins, I'm starting to become stuck with him. I'm starting to think my big beef with Seth Rollins is that top tier match, that high level match. I've not seen a classic from Seth Rollins. Now, there's been some classic moments. Obviously, the Money in the Bank cash in at WrestleMania is one of the all time moments. The last like couple times that I've seen Seth kind of like do something where I was emotionally invested is when he came out to the Shield's music when he faced Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, not last year, but the year before. I'm I'm over this singing his song. I feel like he's got this somewhat great character, but in ring, I'm not buying Seth Rollins. He doesn't give me any great matches. I don't know. Am I crazy or are you seeing kind of what I'm
I
laying
mean,
out here?
I think you're completely wrong. We've talked about this plenty of times on the show, how Seth is one of the top workers in the business. I don't know what you're getting annoyed about, but like he's also delivered one of WWE's only 5-star matches in the last couple of years with Cody Rhodes. Um, evaluated by Dave Meltzer, as you know.
Right.
Um, it just doesn't make any sense why it feels like a solid heel turn on your part, to be honest with you. You're like Shayna Baszler right now on
Whoa.
I don't get it.
Segue.
Yeah.
No, well, first of all, it's sexy Shayna Baszler to you, motherfucker, okay?
She's major babe.
So my thing is, and you mentioned that 5-star match. I mean, that 5-star match really had nothing to do with Seth, in my opinion. That was all about Cody and his injury and him putting on that performance with the torn pec.
And fuck you for saying that, because it takes two
Two
people
to
to fucking
tango.
put on a match.
I know.
And you of all people should know better than that, to sit there and say that it's one person carrying another person. And yeah, it does happen in the WWE and it happens in wrestling. But for you to say that Seth Rollins had nothing to do with that match being a 5-star match is bullshit.
Nothing to do, maybe not. Percentage wise, we're looking at 30-70. I don't know.
You're a
35-65.
You're a goddamn hater.
Listen, he's married to Becky Lynch, and you know what I feel about it.
It's all coming out now. It's all coming out now. They did an ESPN commercial and you're pissed. I get it. It's all right. Just let it happen.
You know what? I'm just saying I've not seen a 5-star match from Seth. I've been waiting for years. I've seen several 5-star matches from Cody Rhodes. Whether they're graded by Dave Meltzer, I don't give a shit. He had one with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania this past year. He had one with his brother in AEW a couple years ago. The 5-star match at Hell in a Cell was all Cody Rhodes. The reason everyone was tuning into that match was because of Cody Rhodes and his injury and what he did in that match. Seth Rollins just happened to be the guy going against him. Whoopity-doo, all right? Now, Seth Rollins, professional, super professional. We've talked about how he had that huge losing streak for over a year in premium live events, putting everyone over, especially a guy that had left the company and come back.
Especially Cody Rhodes.
Especially
Cody Rhodes. He lost to Cody. Exactly. 3 times he lost to your boy.
Yes, especially Cody Rhodes. So I'll give him all the credit in the world for being professional. I'll give him a credit for his character, the character that he's developed. I love this Joker type character. I've been predicting the Joker coming out for maybe 3 years now. I don't know. But in ring, I have not seen a super wow match from Seth Rollins since he injured his knee years ago against Kane. I have not seen that type of match. I remember watching it, and he was doing the suicide flips, and he was doing all this stuff and blah, 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 all these things. And I was like, wow, that guy in the Shield is incredible. And since that injury, Seth Rollins, I don't know if he's adopted that new style of trying to stay healthy, which is fine. But in the big matches, you got to lay it all on the line. And I haven't seen it, Tim. I don't know. You know what? Maybe I'm biased because of, who he's affiliated with. I won't say her name.
I don't even know what's going on right now. This is out of nowhere, dude. This is nuts.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to hello, everybody, wake up. Seth Rollins is maybe a little overrated.
No, you're Skip Bayless right now. You're Hot Take Central right now, dude.
Hey, guess what? I see what I see. I call him how I see him, all right? He's no Tom Brady.
This is outrageous.
I'm just saying, maybe Seth Rollins is a little overrated. That's all. We're that.
Rated, I think he's rated fine.
He is a great worker. All right. So I'm just saying, people are talking about him like he's like the greatest. I've even said it on this show.
Greatest. No, he's not the greatest. He's not the greatest. He's a good worker.
Yeah. He's a good worker. He reminds me of, who does he remind me of? I don't know. I got to think about that. You know what the problem is? So half the problem is that growing up with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and the guys like that, I'm expecting every time a wrestler comes out and shows this type of potential, I'm like, the next Shawn Michaels. There's never going to be another Shawn Michaels. You know what I mean? There's no one that's that good. And Seth is not there. He's not at that level at all as Sean. Whatever. What am I talking about now? Shut the fuck up, Tom. All right. So Money in the Bank. Let's stick with it. Big pop, maybe the biggest pop of the night, Tim. They're sitting there. John Cena's music hits. He comes out. The place goes insane. He's teasing WrestleMania in London. I love the idea. We've been talking about the PLEs in foreign countries and how the crowds are so hot because they're hungry for that event to happen in their area, in their town, in their country. I would love to see a WrestleMania in London. I think it would be a great show. I think the crowd would take over, and every match would, like you said, mean more because the crowd is so into it. Grayson Waller, a guy that we've been pretty critical of for the last couple weeks, and the Grayson Waller effect and all that stuff, has come out with a video of how he broke his leg in his last match. He's been injured. He's been cleared to start wrestling again. I think it's something that really needs to happen is him get into the ring, have people see what he can do in ring. He went back and forth with Cena, and I thought he held his own. I was impressed with Waller in London. What did you think?
All right, so here I wanted to talk about this for a long time because that whole thing was awesome. From the time that Cena's music hit to the time he gets to the ring, Cena always he is now Rock-esque, right? He's an incredible, I'm not saying he's an incredible actor, but he's an actor. And he knows his spots and he knows how to speak to a crowd, and the dude just entertains and he gets the crowd riled up, and he does it in the way that like the crowd is just feverish and they're living on every single dude.
Yeah.
The promo he cuts is incredible. And it's like, and at the end, he's like freaking out. He's like, let's show what we got. And he's like, and he puts a mic up, and then all of a sudden Grayson Waller comes out, and you're like,
here we go.
Like, first of all, you don't even know why Cena's there. And like, I still don't know why Cena's there. Like to this minute right now, I have no clue why he's there. And Waller comes out, and I already hate Waller for whatever he's been doing in the WWE. It's been meaningless. And the dude handles the crowd, probably the most rambunctious crowd you'll get. And he just cuts a knife through the promo, dude, and he's not affected at all. Like, he's just,
I gotta tell you, the balls on him, right? To do that and in front of that crowd, and Cena's got him in the frenzy. Oh man.
Dude, and to see and it's funny because we see a veteran like what's his face? Who did it the other night?
What, fuck up? Finn Balor? When the crowd was singing Seth's music,
and he got shook, and he couldn't handle it, and that was in like fucking Sheboygan, Iowa.
Yeah.
And Waller
Seth Rollins just from delivered.
Whatever, wherever the fuck he was, it doesn't matter. But like, the point is that the dude handled the pressure and delivered, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was incredible. It was awesome to see. And I don't know, like, for a guy that hated Grayson Waller, to see him do that on that like kind of plane and in that type of environment was like, wow, all right, this dude might have it. So we'll see where that goes. But I mean, his wrestling ability is still questionable because he did nothing in the ring,
right?
Except for taking an attitude adjustment.
Yeah. So. And like, could you imagine being Grayson Waller, and you haven't had much going on, you've had your talk show and this and that, and you're sitting in gorilla position, and you're hearing Cena work this crowd, and they're going nuts on every word he says, and oh man, my music's about to hit, and I got to go out here and just be in this
Yeah,
in the Lions Den. You know what I mean? Like just right there, everyone's all eyes on you now, like this clown. And yeah, he did a great job. Kudos to him. And like we were saying, the ball's on him to come out and make that work. He did make it work. So we'll see where he can go from this, but that gave him a bit of a rub, to get to work with Cena and kind of show his chops a little bit on the microphone. And then another wrestler that you were talking about that got shook, that's somewhat of a veteran now, Ronda Rousey. She can't seem to figure it out on the microphone, in WWE. So, all right,
but
Money in the Bank,
we did get. Hold on, we did get to see.
sexy Shayna
We did
Baszler.
get this. No, we got to see one of the best sounds ever on a wrestler return. As soon as we heard that sword sheath,
Oh, dude,
and,
was that awesome?
and Drew McIntyre come back to the fold, and you know what? You hear all the I listened to the press conference afterwards, and there's a lot of bullshit that was going on about Drew McIntyre going to a different promotion and all that stuff. And I mean, who knows whether it's true or not, but what has been said is that it's never been true. It's just Drew was out on health, and he got a couple things fixed, and he's fully healthy now, and he's ready to go. And by God, does he look fucking great? And holy shit, did he control that crowd on fucking Saturday night, dude? That was awesome.
Drew McIntyre immediately in title contention, one of the best in the business right now. The look, great on the mic, and I know it sounds strange, but guys that have an accent, I think, have a little bit of a tougher, a tougher cross to carry in wrestling as far as winning over the crowd in the American, in the United States. And that guy is a major, major player. We both love Drew McIntyre. I'm so happy to see him back. I can't wait for him to be in that meaningful title mix, and it seems like they're throwing him right with Gunther right away. SummerSlam, Gunther, Drew McIntyre. I can't fucking wait for that match. They're gonna kill each other.
That's gonna be great. And dude, I'm telling you what, Dave Meltzer, if you're fucking watching this show, which you should, because everyone should be.
Yeah.
We got this already earmarked as a 5-star match. Drew McIntyre, fucking Gunther, 5-star match coming your way.
No question. That place, oh man, they are gonna be laying in. And to be honest, Gunther's got some of the best chops going, some of the best woo chops that I've ever seen. He wanted nothing to do with Drew McIntyre's woo chop at WrestleMania. I mean, that dude, could you imagine taking a chop from McIntyre? I mean, he might be the most built dude going in WWE. Like, seriously, that guy could destroy people.
The best thing to see when McIntyre came back out is that, look, there's a lot of guys that stack up to Gunther, but when you actually see Drew McIntyre standing in the ring in front of Gunther, you're like, yeah, this dude can absolutely take him down easily.
Yeah.
Because he's just such a monster, dude. McIntyre's built, dude. He's built like a brick fucking shithouse, dude.
And I wonder because Sheamus has kind of been missing from that equation now. And so I wonder what, because his whole thing was how he wanted the Intercontinental title, never won it. And maybe that's just something they've just let go of, and probably rightfully so. But, for now, I want them to circle back to that. I think that's a great moment for Sheamus to give him that the Grand Slam and winning the Intercontinental title. But it's going to be a huge push and a huge rub for whoever they decide to take down, Gunther and win that Intercontinental title. What do you see about this? Say that's something that they try to push LA Knight into, because I don't see Gunther losing before he wins, takes over as the number one all-time reigning Intercontinental Champion. What if an LA Knight were to we've mentioned it a couple times on the show. That would be a huge pop, LA Knight winning against Gunther.
I think LA Knight needs to. We talked about this. I think LA Knight needs to win a couple singles matches, maybe against like a Sheamus, maybe against like a
Oh,
couple other guys,
Sheamus.
kind of build his credibility a little bit, and then take on Gunther. Um, I mean, but like again, like it's weird because like you see it, like dude, who did we just watch fight Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship?
Yeah, the bro.
The bro.
Ridiculous. Yeah, Riddle.
And so like I want to say like, and the bro hasn't beat anybody except for like Vinci and a couple other guys, like really like, and
I think the
I don't know,
bro's
like
paying for his time away. You know what I mean? He had to
yeah,
leave for
yeah,
some stuff, and I feel like he's paying his dues right now and showing the business like, hey, I'm a professional. I can do business. I'm gonna lose for a while now, but it's gonna work out for me in the end. I don't know.
but he's still getting title shots.
I
Like
know. Still in premium live events. How many? Isn't that something, Tim? You got all these spots, and we've mentioned on how there's so much depth. And AJ Styles is nowhere near Money in the Bank, and he's done nothing wrong. And you got a guy like Riddle who was out because of a substance abuse problem, and now he's
right.
being rewarded. Like, I don't know. I feel like that should be going for the guys that haven't messed up. I mean, and I'm not trying to say people don't deserve a second chance, but man, there's a lot of spots there, and your Montez Ford is nowhere to be seen. Chad Gable isn't on that premium live event. You don't have
Oh,
AJ
but
Styles.
no, but I mean, come on, dude. Chad Gable's been able to fight the Raiders the last 7 weeks of the. I mean, well, I mean, who deserves better than that? I mean, that
Yeah,
that dude's been rewarded every week.
every week with the Viking Raiders. I mean, it is a reward to be working with Maxine Dupree. I'll tell you that. So let's get to the final match of the night. Okay, real quick. Io Sky wins the women's Money in the Bank. We're thinking that's setting up for her versus Asuka to be coming up. We got the turn by Shayna Baszler on Ronda Rousey. That was explained on Monday Night Raw. She said she was sick of Ronda Rousey,
Yeah,
blah,
but
blah,
Tom,
blah.
yeah, but what do you think about that turn?
I think it came out of nowhere. I don't think
It
there was.
doesn't matter what you think about that turn.
How long have you been waiting to do that?
I just came in my head. It just came in my head right there.
I'm surprised that's the first time that's been done on this show. Oh gosh. Tim, we should have done that when we did our greatest when WWE came out with the list with the greatest debuts of all time. That's when we should have dropped that. All that was great. That was incredible. You son of a bitch. So
thank you.
we had the match of the night, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa versus the Usos, the Civil War. Tim, incredible match. Slow build in this match, a nice methodical match that just build and build and build and build and build. Roman Reigns hasn't been pinned in over 3.5 years. Suffers his first pinfall in 3.5 years to the guy who pinned him for the very first time in his WWE career. Back and forth. Solo mixes it up. Thoughts on the match and the finish and everything that was involved in that. What did you think of this match?
It was like to your point, it was a very slow build. It was very old school, very methodical, right? Like it was cool like how they built out the match. And like it kind of makes sense because Roman Reigns isn't a guy that works fast. He's always been like this slow, methodical worker, right?
Right.
In
I
the
was
ring.
gonna say
And
that, Tim. You're right. That's a Roman Reigns trait, right? All his matches are like that, basically.
yeah, and it just you can tell that these guys all worked together before. Like they just have great chemistry in the ring. And they know their spots and they know when to play to the crowd and when the yeah, it was just like really cool to see. Like obviously the youngest worker in the ring is Solo. A couple spots with him with like the outside on the table. He misses like that. That was really the biggest spot of the match, right? Is like
Right.
when he goes for the splash and he misses and he hits, and then he's essentially taken out of the match and leaves Roman in the ring by himself. But like, dude, the double pin um in the ring was cool, right? Like they both kick out.
Yep.
It's more like will than anything, right? It's more, and you could feel like almost like a familial, right? And what I'm saying there is like blood is thicker than water, right? And like family means more than anything. And the reason why I think that match sold so well was because it is family, right? And after everything, all the pain and like the finishing moves that they've been through, right? And it's easy to see like Roman like win that match after the spear is dealt and all the finishing moves and he's laying on top of them. They kick out and you're like, dude, that's brothers that are like just doing anything they can to win this fucking match. And it's like it's a great sell job. It's great storytelling, as we always say on the show. Um, and I never thought that they would win that match. I never thought. I predicted that they would lose that match and they would get their asses beat afterwards, and there would be just hell to pay. And they went completely against the grain in what I thought was going to be, just a decimation of the Usos. And wow, what a match, dude! What a match!
Yeah, I agree, Tim. Incredible match, incredible storytelling, the stack and the kick out, and then, the super kicks, which lead to the frog splash and Solo's out. Roman on the side after the match, screaming because he's furious that he lost, almost like disbelief. He can't believe he's been pinned. First time in 3.5 years. Where is this going now? This Friday's been announced for the trial of the tribal chief Roman Reigns, and I'm curious to see how this plays out. Does Roman come out and sit in trial while like these guys just seem to fight every time they're around? How is this going to work out? And
Yeah, what does that even mean?
yeah, the trial. What do you mean the trial? You said he's been crazy. You guys already fought. What are we having a trial about? Like you can't kick him out now. Is Solo going to say, "Hey,
Yeah,
the trial voted, so I know I was with you, but I'm not really anymore, like how does that necessarily work? Tim, for this to work for me, I feel like the bloodline, and I guess they can't be called the bloodline if there needs to be kind of a new fact. I feel like someone has to be introduced into this Roman and Solo side here to kind of give them the edge over the Usos. I don't know who it could be. I don't know like what's going on. I'm curious to see what's going to happen, but I just feel like that has to happen. I feel like someone has to join Roman and Solo. And I want to throw a crazy idea out to you. And it
bringing
was
back Sammy.
it was a weird, it's kind of a strange one. They haven't been around for a little bit, or done anything of any note recently. But what if the Street Profits joined up with Roman and Solo
Nah,
and kind of
not
became
gonna
their
happen.
tag team?
Nah,
Yeah. Where's this going then? I can't put my finger on this one.
I mean the way I see it is Pretty Deadly joins them.
Are you serious or are you messing around?
I'm
There
messing
has been
around.
rumors
No,
that Theory and Pretty Deadly start to join that Theory joins Roman Reigns. There's been like
I don't
rumors
know.
circling about that.
No, dude, honestly, I don't know how it works out, but it, I mean, it's probably going to take another 2 months to work this whole thing out, but for the most part, I just see it still playing out. They probably want a rematch. Probably going to be some sort of rematch or a singles match going on between. Actually, who pinned Roman?
Jay.
So I think
So
maybe that might go to a singles match between Jay and Roman.
rumored right now is Jay versus Roman at SummerSlam. I don't know. I guess Solo and Jimmy are just sitting on the sides, like, they're in the corners of their chosen person. I still, and I know I said it last week, I still feel like there has to be a kind of an Empire Strikes Back kind of moment. Roman's been on the losing end now for, you know, several weeks and
He's only
not,
lost. He only got pinned once, so I mean, it's not like he lost a ton.
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, he gets the betrayal from Jimmy at the premium live event, and then he's getting Jay's turning on him, and they knock him out a couple times, and now they beat him in a tag match. It's just been like several battles lost by Roman recently. Eventually he has to come back a little bit here. He's the tribal chief and kind of show his dominance once again, and in as ruthless as a fashion as he's ever done it, I would say would make for the best storyline. I know I keep calling for a casino type moment, but I'm guessing that happens at SummerSlam. I don't know, but I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I think this Friday is going to be a big show. I'm looking forward to it. So I was mentioning it before when I got off on my tangent about Seth Rollins and Monday Night Raw. We had a hot start to the show. Um, Seth Rollins comes out, the crowd singing a song, and then comes Cody Rhodes, and they kind of tease that back and forth again. And Cody comes out, and we're gonna have to look a little further into this. Like, so what do you want to talk about, Tim? You mentioned that might be from The Shining. I wonder if that is an ode to The Shining, that Cody uses that, and maybe he's a fan of the movie. But as he's saying that catchphrase, Brock Lesnar's music hits, and the place is in a frenzy and going wild. Cody confronts him right away at the top of the aisle. They're going at it back and forth, and what a
Yeah, but it
hot start.
was great. But like in the middle of that whole frenzy, they both stopped and they talked about why
Why Brock attacked him.
Brock Lesnar attacked. And what was the reason that he gave?
Yeah, he said that he never liked the ring posts that were the LED style ring posts.
I thought he was, yeah.
He's more
He
of a
wasn't. It
traditional
wasn't.
ring post guy, you know?
Yes, yeah. Yep.
And he
Much
saw
like the
those.
much much like the reason why we got the reason for Shayna Baszler attacking, our favorite women's wrestler,
Ronda Rousey. Well, Shayna
Ronda
did give an
Rousey.
explanation, and I will say this: as much as I'm not a big Shayna Baszler fan, she destroyed Ronda Rousey on the microphone this week. It was like she put on a clinic on burying someone on the microphone. If you haven't had a chance to watch Shayna Baszler destroy Ronda Rousey, the person that is supposed to be the bad guy is getting wildly cheered by the fans with everything she's saying, because it's 100% true. People are sick of Ronda Rousey on the microphone. She's yada yada yada. I'm a Ronda Rousey fan. I'm a supporter of her. I like her in-ring stuff. I like her character. She's a draw. She's the real deal. She can sell. She needs a Paul Heyman. She needs someone like that to speak for her, and they can build her up. But Shayna crushed her. But so the show started hot. They get into Damian Priest, and comes out. He has a match. It ends with Damian Priest and the beatdown of Seth Rollins again. Finn Balor shows up. Dom is there. Finn, Seth gets away, and it's leading to more tension between them. All in all, Raw I thought was okay. That had its moments. A lot of a lull. We've got 5 weeks till SummerSlam. Tim, final thing, the SummerSlam card is starting to shape up. What we're thinking it's going to be. It looks like we're looking at Logan Paul versus Ricochet. I'm thinking a Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. You got Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns. We're talking about. That's 3 matches right there. Is there anything that I'm missing? I feel like there's another one. Finn Balor,
Rousey.
Baszler, Rousey. Is Finn Balor and Seth Rollins going to go again? Are they going to put a stipulation on this match? Are we looking at a cage match or something?
Could be a priest. Well, KO and Sammy are going to have to end up fighting somebody, probably, right?
Rumors are it's DIY. That's Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa's tag team, who's had several 5-star matches by Mr. Dave Meltzer. And we'll see where that goes, but they're starting to shape up. I'm looking forward to the road to SummerSlam and the build to those matches. I'm certainly excited for SummerSlam and where it's go. And I do want to mention that last week we had talked about WrestleMania and Atlantic City, and I did make a mistake in saying that it was WrestleMania 2 and 4. It was, in fact, WrestleMania 4 and 5. Not 2 and 4. I went and looked it up because I said that just doesn't seem right.
One of those promos that Hogan cut, he was talking about swimming in the Atlantic Ocean with Donald Trump backstroking.
Tim, I think when we started this show, when we originally thought about this show, you brought up and sent me that promo to talk about just the wild promos that they used to do. I wonder if maybe in the next couple weeks we give the folks a top 5 craziest promos you've ever seen in your life from back in that golden era.
Well, I mean, the number 1 is definitely the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh yeah,
where he's talking about he's in the plane.
What about the cream rises? The cream always rises to the top. Cup of coffee in the big time. Cup of coffee in the big time. Cup of coffee in the big time. Fitting that we have. We want to thank you for listening to another episode of Jabroni Drive. Sorry for a couple of the tangents that I went off on today. I don't know where those came from, Tim. My apologies to you, my friend. I just want to say I think Seth Rollins is a fine worker. Okay? I don't want to get started on that again. What an idiot I am. But go ahead.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Anything you'd like to say to all the Schmidt and Lavellites out there before we sign off?
No. We love you. We hope that you keep on signing in despite Tommy's bullshit idealistic views on wrestling and
who do I think I
am? That he
Yeah, I'm but a common man. I sometimes get lost. My apologies to all the Schmidt and Lavellites out there. I'll have to do better next time, and as they say, the cream always rises to the top. Cup of coffee in the big time. Till next time, my name's Tom Lavelle for Tim Schmidt. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.